Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. So today's video we're going into Genesis 34, the defiling of Dinah. And unfortunately I'm gonna have to put a trigger warning on this because I know how people are and they will get butthurt over it, or they get extremely sensitive, and just people just do not like this kind of topic. And if you are one of those people, I would not recommend going into the study aspect of this video. Go ahead and listen to when I'm reading it, because it is really important to read all chapters of the Bible, and this is still a important chapter in the book, and it leads to more parts in Genesis. But if you do not want to go into the discussion of the video, then that's fine too. I mean, I'm not. We are going to be discussing what all happened to her. We're basically going to discuss the whole entire chapter. Okay, just leave it at that. Now, before I go ahead and get into reading the actual chapter, I will give you guys the heads up as well that my version is the ESV version, English Standard Version. So it could be different than a New King James Version, or the King James Version, or the NIV, or the NASB. There's various different versions out there, and there's a possibility that my wording might be slightly different than your wording. So just keep that in mind when you are either trying to read along with me or trying to just listen to what I'm saying versus what your Bible says. Okay, and then, like I said, afterwards we'll go ahead and get into the discussion of it. There are only 32 verses in here, so it is really short, and well, the chapter is pretty straightforward. So there's only a couple things we really need to discuss to kind of, well, work out and explain how it connects to the rest of the book, or how it fits in this, or what certain things mean. But overall, this study should be relatively short compared to most of my other videos. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into reading it. Alright, so we are going into Genesis 34, the defiling of Dinah. And I'm pretty sure that's how you say your name, but don't quote me on that. It could be a whole different pronunciation. I am terrible at pronouncing names. Alright. Now, Dinah, the daughter of Leah, whom she had borne to Jacob, went out to see the woman of the land. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor the Hivite, the prince of the land, saw her, he seized her and lay with her and humiliated her. And his soul was drawn to Dinah, the daughter of Jacob. He loved the young woman and spoke tenderly to her. So Shechem spoke to his father Hamor, saying, "Get me this girl for my wife." Now Jacob heard that he had defiled his daughter Dinah, but his sons were with his livestock in the field. So Jacob held his peace until they came. And Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out to Jacob to speak with him. The sons of Jacob had come in from the field as soon as they heard of it, and the men were indignant and very angry because he had done an outrageous thing in Israel, but laying with Jacob's daughter, for such a thing must not be done. But Hamor spoke with them, saying, "The soul of my son Shechem longs for your daughter. Please give her to him to be his wife. Make marriages with us. Give your daughters to us, and make our daughters, and take our daughters for yourself. You shall dwell with us, and the land shall be open to you. Dwell and trade in it, and get property in it." Shechem also said to her father and to her brothers, "Let me find favor in your eyes, and whatever you say to me I will give. Ask me for as great a bride price and gift as you will, and I will give you whatever you say to me. Only give me the young woman to be my wife." The sons of Jacob answered Shechem and his father Hamor deceitfully, because he had defiled their sister Dinah. They said to them, "We cannot do this thing, to give our sister to one who is uncircumcised, for that would be a disgrace to us. Only on this condition we will agree with you, that you will become as we are by every male among you being circumcised. Then we will give our daughters to you, and we will take your daughters to ourselves, and we will dwell with you and become one people. But if you will not listen to us and be circumcised, then we will take our daughter, and we will be gone. Their words pleased Hamor and Hamor's son Shechem, and the young man did not delay to do the thing because he delighted in Jacob's daughter. Now he was the most honored of all his father's house. So Hamor and his son Shechem came to the gate of their city and spoke to the men of the city, saying, These men are at peace with us. Let them dwell in the land and trade in it, for behold, the land is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters as wives, and let us give them our daughters. Only on this condition will the men agree to dwell with us to become one people, when every male among us is circumcised, as they are circumcised. Will not their livestock, their property, and all their beasts be ours? Only let us agree with them, and they will dwell with us. And all who went out to the gate of the city listened to Hamor and his son Shechem, and every male was circumcised. All who went out of the gate of the city. On the third day, when they were sore, two of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took their swords and came against the city while it felt secure, and killed all the males. They killed Hamor and his son Shechem with the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house, and went away. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain, and plundered the city, because they had defiled their sister. They took their flocks, and their herds, their donkeys, and whatever was in the city and in the field, all the wealth, all the little ones, and their wives, all that was in the houses, they captured and plundered. Then Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, You have brought trouble onto me by making me stink to the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites and the Perizzites. My numbers are few, and if they gather themselves against me and attack me, I shall be destroyed, both I and my household. But they said, Should he treat our sister like a prostitute? And that is the end of chapter 34. Ugh, Big Gary, your butt is so big it is literally taking up the entire bed. Okay. So obviously, like I said, it is pretty straightforward what happened in this chapter. Now again, I'm going to give you guys the heads up. It is a trigger warning, so if you guys do not want to go into the depths of like what certain things mean, just go ahead and back out now, okay? Because I don't want people commenting and it's like, well, I've seen that too many times. The people are just going saying, well, this is a sensitive topic, and of course it's a sensitive topic, okay? It's the defiling of Dinah, but the Bible has a lot of sensitive topics in here, and it comes with the territory of reading the Bible. So obviously we were going into the only daughter, okay? The only daughter born to Jacob is Dinah, okay? And she was the very last child. Rachel never had any daughters. She only had sons, okay? And now it says that she had went out to the woman of the land because she wanted to explore, okay? She's a kid, okay? But this was really unwise, okay? And maybe, in a sense, maybe it was the parents' fault for leaving her unsupervised, but kids are curious, okay? I mean, even my kid does it. He wanders off. He just wants to explore. He wants to play. He wants to see things. It's all new to him. But either way, she went out to go explore, and that's when Shechem, the son of the Hamor, the Hivite, he saw her, he seized her, and he lay with her, and he humiliated her. And in other words, he raped her. Okay, that is the point blank of it. He didn't just lay with her, he raped her. Okay, and then it says he loved the woman and spoke tenderly to her. Now granted, okay, here's the ironic part. So he might have been drawn to her, but he didn't love her, because if he did, he wouldn't have done what he did to her. Now maybe this is something that happened after he raped her, because he got to know her a little more personally. But either way, it still isn't love. It is just the fact that he was drawn to her because he had raped her, and he got to know her a little more intimately than everyone else did. So, not exactly love. Okay, and it goes, so then he talks to his father saying he wants this girl for his wife because he was drawn to her. There was something connecting him to her that he liked. Okay. And then Jacob heard that he had defiled his daughter, and then his sons were tending to his livestock, and Jacob said that Jacob held his peace. So he was probably was really upset about what happened, but he decided to hold his peace until they came back. And then when Hamor and Shechem came to talk to them, they were in the field. As soon as they came up from the field, and they said they were indignant and very angry. Okay, now this family has a very strong sense of family honor, and going as far as raping someone is really, really bad. Okay. And he even says so here. It says, because he had done an outrageous thing in Israel by laying with Jacob's daughter, and for such a thing must not be done. It is really, really bad to go forcing yourself on someone. So Hamor, Shechem's father, says that the soul of his son was longing for their daughter, and he was asking for Dinah to be given to Shechem as his wife, and then he makes him a challenge, or makes him a proposal. Okay, he tells them that make marriages with them to give them their daughters, and then they can take their daughters for themselves. And he said you should dwell with us, and the land should be open to you, dwell and trade in it, get property in it. Okay, now this is a dangerous challenge in a sense. It's an intermarriage, and it would be harmful to their family, to Jacob's family, because right now this would be a pattern for future marriages with Canaanites. And if you guys have read the previous chapters of Genesis, there was a...
What I found.
Go ahead, go play with it, my kid. One of the things that Jacob had said was that Isaac had said that he didn't want for Jacob was he didn't want him to marry a Canaanite woman, and he wanted to. That's why he sent him to Laban's house where he met Rachel. He did not want his family intermingled with the Canaanites, and right now, if they did that, if they agree to this, they would be setting up a pattern for future marriages with Canaanites, and that is exactly what they did not want. And then it says, you should dwell with us, and your land should be open to us, dwell and trade in it, and properties. Now, at this point, they thought it was generous, okay? They thought them offering up property and letting them be able to trade in it was considered a generous offer. This negotiation was insulting Dinah and her family with a name your price kind of attitude. They acted as if money and marriage could make her disgrace basically go away. So while they knew that he did rape her, he forced himself on her. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to offer them something in exchange for what he did. And they think money, property, marriages would actually be the way to go. I'm going to kick this down just a hair. There we go. Which it's not, okay? It's not. And obviously, as you guys go, as we read into the chapter, you quickly find out that it is not acceptable in their opinion. Even though, despite the fact that at the very beginning part here, it looks like they might actually agree to that an arrangement. Okay, they go into here where Shechem now is talking, and he says, "Let me find favor in your eyes, and whatever you say to me, I will give." So there's the name your price, name your price attitude that he was just putting off. He says, "Ask me for as great a bride price." So again, he's trying to get them to name their price of whatever it is they want in exchange for letting them take Dinah as a wife, even though he literally disgraced her and raped her. And I will give to you. I will give whatever you say to me. So again, the whole name your price attitude, which is really disgracing of Jacob, and is disgracing her brothers and her, and on top of it, and it is extremely disrespectful. Okay, so the sons of Jacob answered, and they had, previously this family is kind of a little deceptive. When Rebecca tricked her own husband into thinking her youngest son, or thinking that Jacob was Esau, and then I know there's previous times when they tricked one another, and this is they're extremely calculated, they're very well planned, and they're good manipulators, just good deceptors. Okay. And he says here, they answered him more deceitfully, because he had defiled their sister. He says, "We cannot do this thing to give our sister to one who is uncircumcised, for that would disgrace us all." And in a sense, I can see where that comes from, because one of the covenants that God made with Jacob and his family is that every male had to be circumcised, and he made this with Abraham. Okay, so all males had to be circumcised, which is why they're saying that. Okay, in order for him to take Dinah to be his wife, everyone in his entire town, his city, everyone that's underneath his control, underneath his reign, or whatever you want to call it, had to be circumcised. And then they said, "Only in this condition will we agree to you. But if you will not listen to us and be circumcised, then we will take our daughter and be gone." Okay. So that right there is their first sin. Their first, and I don't know if it's really considered a sin, whatever. It's the first thing that they did was bad. The first deceitful thing that they did. Okay, and then of course, obviously, Hamor and Shechem are extremely pleased with these words, and they go and talk to, where is it? Yeah, they came to the city of the gate, and they spoke to the men of the city. Okay, and as it mentioned right here as well, Shechem, it says he delighted in Jacob's daughter. Now he was the most honored of all his father's house. Okay, so that being said, is out of everyone in his entire household, he was the most respectable. He was the most honorable one, and he was actually going to uphold his end of the deal for Dinah. Now, that being said, he more than likely probably really did like Dinah, despite how they first came to be connected. Okay, and obviously, he goes ahead and has every of the household circumcised. Okay, so Hamor and Shechem agree to such an extreme demand, because circumcision was not only practiced among the Israelites, but some other ancient priests also circumcised their males. From the beginning, Simeon and Levi planned evil against them and the Canaanites, but they covered it up with spiritual words and used Dinah as a cover-up. Okay, where it has said they had answered deceitfully because they defiled their sister. Okay, so this was entirely planned already. Okay, they go into telling about how these men are at peace with them, how they want to take their daughters as their wives, and how they will let them take their daughters as their wives. And then they were saying here, will not their livestock, their property, and all their beasts be ours? Only let us agree to them, and they will dwell with us. And at that point, they agreed to it. Okay, so the father and son had to convince the men of their community to receive the painful procedure of circumcision, and they all agreed to it. So, on the third day, on the third day after they had all been circumcised and they were extremely sore from the circumcision, the brothers Simeon and Levi came and took their swords and killed everyone. Okay, they killed all the males. They killed Hamor and Shechem, and they took Dinah away. Okay. Then the sons of Jacob, the rest of the sons, came upon the slain and plundered the city because they had defiled the sitter. They took their stock, the flocks, the herd, the donkeys, whatever was in the field. They took all of their money, all of their babies, all of their wives, all that was in the house, and captured and plundered it. Okay. And at that point, they had literally killed everyone in the house, and everyone in that city, took everything they wanted, and made it their possessions. Now Jacob is upset by this.
Then I'll do it.
Good, go sit down.
Okay.
And it says, "You have brought trouble to me by making me stink to the inhabitants of the land." Oh, my eye itches. Okay. The Canaanites and Perizzites, and he says that his numbers are few, and if they gather themselves against him, they will overcome him, and they will kill him and his entire household. And then they had answers like, should he treat our sister like a prostitute? Now, I can understand that aspect of it, but none of that really justified the cruelty and the abuse. My Bible app. Okay, none of that really mattered because, again, yes, she was abused, she was raped, but none of that justified their mass murder and the enslaving of women and children and theft through plunder. Okay. The rape was bad. Yes, I guarantee that. Okay, that was bad, and it was probably very traumatic for her, and probably really hard for her. But to kill an entire city and take all their women, their children, all their items, all their possessions, their money, their livestock, that's just kind of a little bit. It's not. If you're weighing it out, it's not really balanced. Yes, they did disrespect her. Yes, they did humiliate her. It's just not justified. Okay, and that was extremely bad what they did. But like I said, I can see their point to it, because at that point they were in a sense treating her like a prostitute. He had raped her, and then they offered a name your price of just to try and get her as his wife. But it did say that he was the most honored out of his father's household, and he probably did, like I said, he probably really did like her, and he probably would have been a good husband to her after all this was said and done. But even still, like I said, this marriage to them would have opened up a pattern for more intermarriages with the Canaanites, and just would have not been a good idea. My eye just really itches right now. It would have been really bad. But they did not need to kill all the males and enslave the women and children. So that was pretty bad. So I can see why his father's also a little upset as well. When he says that his numbers are few, and if they all rise up together one event, they're going to kill everyone. They're just, but I don't know. Nothing obviously happens of it, and it leaves it right there, okay? And that's the end to it. So trigger warning off. Okay, so now we are going to go into the rest of Genesis, starting with the next chapter would be Genesis 35, which again, like I said, 1 o'clock. The next chapter will be Genesis 35 next week, and we'll be going into God blesses and renames Jacob. And then into Esau's descendants. And then finally, the chapter I've been anxiously waiting for, which is chapter 37, and it goes into the story of Joseph. So we have 2 chapters left before we get into Joseph and his colorful coat and his dreams and the whole entire story for that. I can't wait for that. I've been reading that one already, and I am loving it. It is definitely an eye-opener, and it is drastically different from the cartoon movie that I've seen. I would really recommend reading it yourself, and take a study on it. Like I said, or just wait till I get to it. Like I said, I'm going to be covering Genesis for the next couple of weeks. I've already finished all of John. So if you've not done the John study, go ahead and go take a look at my profile or my account here. What do you want to call it? Go into the Genesis, or go into the John playlist, and every single book in John is in there and done. But I have not successfully completed a single Old Testament book yet. So I am just going to continue plowing through Genesis until I'm done with this book. And then I will I'll continue Matthew, and more than likely I will go straight head into Exodus. And that's my plan for my reading plans coming up in the future. So yeah, that is all of Genesis 34. If you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, or you guys want to add in your own little personal note, go ahead and check the description, comment below, and check the description for links to my Instagram account, my John playlist, the Genesis playlist that'll lead to all the videos before this one. And yeah, and starting, I'm going to make the decision, starting next month, I am going to restart doing those event calendars. So for the month of November and December, event calendars are back up and running, and I will have every single one of my videos listed on that calendar. And they will be uploaded onto my Instagram account, which is what I'm saying. Go follow my Instagram account. So, alright, without further ado, if you guys have made it all the way to the end of this video, awesome. I love you guys. You guys are really helping by supporting this channel. If you guys want to help out some more, like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications. And maybe even set an alarm on your phone for when I post videos. Because I post videos on Mondays for Bible studies and other videos on Fridays. Some videos are Christian, some videos are not Christian, but Right now I'm doing Christian-based videos on Fridays. Alright, so this coming Friday, we are going to be covering two topics that kind of go hand in hand with one another. And it is basically one that's called like stuck in sin. And it's referring to kind of like a repetitive pattern of repeating the same sin over and over again. And then how it's connected to another topic called fight your flesh, or fight your skin, or something like that. And that is supposed to be referring to how our flesh wants to go one way and God is calling us to go a different direction. I know it's slightly confusing right now, but you guys will just have to wait until Friday and come see the video, and it will make a whole bunch of sense. This video came directly from Taylor Alicia's kind of some of her videos, and a few other videos I watched that were not hers, but the initial topic development came from her videos. And this is really personal to me. It's really got me reflecting on how I work my life and so on. So I feel like this video is going to be pretty important to watch if you feel like you are stuck in the same sin over and over again, or if you feel like you're giving into more worldly things than what God wants. So go ahead and take a look at this coming Friday when I post a video, and let me know what you think about this video. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and get going, and I will see you guys this coming Friday. You guys have an amazing week, and don't forget to read your Bible. Bye, guys.